Peter Bukowski is tweeting a series of quotes from James Jones, who was on Colin Cowherd's show. James Jones said he talked to Aaron, and he said it's not about who you're bringing in. What Rodgers wants is a little input on who you're letting out of the building. He goes on to say, when you got guys like Jordy Nelson willing to take a pay cut to play and you're saying, no, get out of here anyways, Jordy Nelson could finish sentences for Aaron Rodgers. Just because this guy can run a little bit faster doesn't mean I'm going to get more success. This is an eminently reasonable request, says Peter Bukowski. Hey, before you cut Jordy Nelson, let's talk about and actually hear my side. Ask me how valuable Julius Peppers is to our locker room before deciding not to bring him back for another year. This should already have been happening. Then Bukowski gives his take on his opinions. Great, we love Bukowski, but you don't know what Jake fucking Kumro potentially means to a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Bukowski, I appreciate your work, but the way he tried to say the Packers could say to him, I don't want to hear about Jake fucking good. You should want to hear from the quarterback on the guys he has to work with or what's going on in the building, especially somebody that's been there 16 years. And after what we just heard Andrew Brandt say, AJ, that the GM has the most power in the NFL, basically can do whatever, it's very... it's kind of starting to make a lot more sense now on why and how, and is there any way to fix this with the word you're getting, AJ?
Well, first off, it depends on where you are and what team you are in the structure to see how much power the GM does have. Like, that's not a foolproof black and white plan. Like, hey, the GM here, he answers to nobody. Like, that's not how it is everywhere. They
answer to a committee, I was just told, by Andrew Brandt. Yep. They answer to a committee that always will defer to football, I was told. Yeah. So they can do whatever they want. If it's $10 million, if you want to do this, sure. Go do what you got to do. Allegedly, that's what Andrew Brandt said. He might have been in those conversations. He had to pay you $50-some million or something like that, $100-some million, whatever the case. You deserved it. You earned it. But I'm just saying, I didn't know. I thought it was the opposite because I thought the owner would be like, yeah, go spend money, go spend money. Allegedly, the committee's like, yeah, do whatever you need to do.
Well, this is Green. You're talking just Green Bay, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can see why.
Yeah, they don't have an owner. Yeah, it's not like that other team. Like that was Andrew's experience when he was in Green Bay.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying about Aaron judging the GM for the decisions being made. It's like Aaron knows at this point, like, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. So whenever you do this, is that something that's reasonable, you think, and real, what James Jones is saying there? And have you heard anything like that?
What James has said that pretty much before. I've said a lot of what James said before on this show. Like, he's kind of repeating what he has said, but it actually gives me a little...
Someone's jealous.
I'm saying of Bukowski. Like, James has said that before on Colin's show. Like, this isn't the first time James has talked like that. Maybe it wasn't on Colin's show. Maybe it was on NFL Network.
Okay, and you would know, by the way, because every piece of information that does get put out about AJ or Aaron, I see AJ get added every single time. And any piece of information that comes out, we pepper you with questions as well. We will talk about that again here in a little bit. Just wanted to hear if you had any inside information on Aaron Rodgers. Do you think the lack of ownership does affect like this type of situation? And it's not the first time, obviously. There's been other legends who have been on the team who have wanted to stick around for one more year and have been forced out to go somewhere else, where I think an owner would have said, no, you're a Packer or whatever. So do you think that's a part of this whole thing too?
Yeah, I do, Pat. I think I was there 10 years. I know it as well as anyone. Listen, for people that don't know, here's the structure. You have a president and you have an executive committee, you have a board of directors. All of those people defer to football. And don't tell me Murphy's got more power. They all defer to football. We'd have presentations in front of the president, the exec committee, and the board every few months, and they're all like, "Sounds good to me." It's like, so the general manager of the Packers, to me, is the most powerful position that's non-ownership in the NFL, because like when I did a $10 million contract or a $50 million contract, there's nobody saying, "Hey, Andrew, that's too much," or "Hey, Andrew," it's like they trusted me. That was my deal. And the problem is when you have that much power, you're going to have a situation where there are a lack of governors sometimes. So what happens, I think, with Ted Thompson, he's an elite talent evaluator. Elite. But he didn't have great communication skills. He left it to me and John Schneider and Reggie McKenzie to deal with that side of it. Now, I don't know what Gutekunst is doing. He's obviously a disciple of Ted, and I don't know how his communication has gone with people like Aaron. But listen, superstars are different. This is the world we live in. You've got to treat them differently. We treated Brett differently, of course. And I just feel like there's some kind of thing going on there where Aaron's just a player, but that has to change.
So that June 1, post-June 1 deadline we heard about, right? We heard about the post-June 1 deadline because it saves a little bit of money. The only number that I've really thought about is the $6.8 million that he would allegedly have to write a check back to Green Bay, or 6 point something million out of a signing bonus that he got a couple years ago that he has not earned. This is the Calvin Johnson situation. This is the Barry Sanders situation. This is a Lions situation that's potentially happening with Aaron in Green Bay if he was to retire. Jim Irsay, if you do recall, actually, Andrew Luck retired 10 days before his season started. He told him to keep the 25. Yeah, just keep the 25 million, dude. Do whatever you got to do here in hopes of maybe, I'd assume, Andrew coming back and still being on good terms. But this $93,000 that Aaron is going to get fined for missing this mandatory minicamp here, it's obviously nothing. But is this the first time he'll have to write a check? How would this work? I don't think I understand, because that's more than what you would make during this time. Normally they just take it out of your check or whatever. Would he have to write the $93,000 fine check? And when would that come? Soon, or is that at the end of the year?
Well, let me just correct you on a couple of things. The $6.8 million is a roster bonus that he earned in March by being on the roster. They didn't trade him. He's on the roster. The payout on that, and you can blame me because this is the way I started payouts on roster bonuses back in the day at the Packers, is through the season. So he hasn't gotten a dime of that $6.8 million yet.
Okay, now, so he doesn't have to write a check then, right?
No, but at the minicamp is up to the Packers. They don't have to fine him $90,000, and my sense is they won't. The one thing that is not going to be up to the Packers, if he misses training camp, it's like $50,000 a day, and the new CBA, thanks union, they can't even rescind. The team has to charge $50,000 a day, and then you take it out of whatever money's coming later. The thing about Calvin Johnson is the retirement thing. If he retires, whatever the prorated bonus for this year, next year, the third year on his contract, he has to pay back. But that's a grievance, and they have to chase him for the money and all that. Here's the bottom line, Pat. He's got two options, it seems. Play or retire, because the Packers aren't trading him. The Packers are not trading him.
Wow.
They are trading him in 2021, 2022, in my opinion. They are trading him. But they're not trading him in 2021. So he's got decisions to make.
Andrew, real quick, Andrew, whenever you hear Bobbert Domofsky say that there's been no change in Aaron's stance, no matter what the time. Now, July 6th, he has a golf match that he is going against Tom and Phil alongside Bryson Brooksy DeChambeau. And I'm excited to see, because Charles Barkley's probably going to be on a call for that. He's going to ask. Like, there's going to be, that is going to be something that Aaron's going to have to speak about. I assume Aaron knows that. Aaron's probably, by the way, very knowledgeable on this entire situation, both business-wise, personal-wise, will be able to talk and answer any questions that come his way, potentially during this golf match. But with that whole, you're saying he's got two options. Either he's playing for the Packers. You hear Adam Schefter say he's still strong as hell in his stance, he says, yesterday. So it's like, when does that would have to happen pretty soon? And how do you think, if you're a team, are you making this guy, because we all know, we had Chuck Pagano on yesterday. Chuck's been around 36 years. He said, I'm dying before I let that guy walk out of my building. I mean, they don't grow on trees. Jordan Love can be he might be a great player. He might be top 10 player of all time. Guess what? Still nowhere near as good as Aaron Rodgers. Excuse me. So sorry to interrupt. Hey! Did you know at the age of 30, your testosterone levels start dropping 1% per year? Wow! That means you're going to get fatter, more tired, and lose the strength that you once had. But no worries. Our friends at Roman have the perfect product for you, so you can get back to banging weights, banging humans, and living your best life. $15 off right now. Get Roman.com/USA. Back to the action. Hey! By the way, he might be the best player of all time. Might be the case, but that team's going to take a massive shot. How does the team get Aaron, you think, to get off of his strong as hell stance? What you said, fly out there, sit him down, and do that whole thing. That already happened. Is there any way, you think? And what do you think they should do, and how do you think they will handle it?
You know, there's two parts to this, Pat. There's personal and financial. Financial, to me, you can work on. You know, the numbers are the numbers. If he wants to get paid more than Mahomes, fine. If he wants future guarantees, fine. You know, the guarantees will travel with a trade anyway. You can give him more money, which I've always said from the moment he finished the championship game. I'm like, they got to give him more money. He's the MVP. I don't know whatever the top player in the NFL makes, he should make that. But you only get to the money if you figure out the other stuff. Like, if this was just about money, it'd be over, right? This would be done. This is not about money. You know, whether Aaron wants somebody fired or whether he wants some role in personnel, I don't know. I just want to feel like Aaron feels a trust from the front office. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
But in terms of dates, you know, I don't care about July 6th. I don't care about the start of training camp. I think the real date is September. You know, he doesn't need training camp. He's never going to play in a preseason game. That, you know, to me, it's all about September. And what are they going to do to mollify him? Not financially. Like, feel more invested in the team. Now, some things I've brought up, Pat.
Yep.
You could, you know, say, Aaron, you play for us this year. We'll give you a void next year. You become a free agent like Brady. You pick your team. Would Aaron do that? I think Aaron would. Would the Packers do that? I don't know. Not getting any trade compensation for Aaron Rodgers, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Or you say, hey, we'll readjust your contract next year to move up big money into a roster bonus in March, so we got to make a decision. You know, we got to trade you in March rather than keep you around, you know, during the offseason and figure it out then. That might be doable, you know, where you say, Aaron, play for us this year, and we'll make a decision in March.
Peter King said that. I assume that's potentially getting floated out there right now as a potential olive branch being extended by both sides.